Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be playing with some makeup from Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild is an OG drugstore brand I think a lot of us grew up using. They have really affordable products, but over the last several years I've noticed they've really upped their game. They've launched some really amazing things and have still managed to keep their price points really reasonable, which I think is awesome. So I'm very happy to announce that today's video is sponsored by Wet n Wild. I was super excited when they reached out to me just because I know I really enjoy the brand. And they were super chill about me being very honest and open as far as my feedback on the product goes. They didn't give me any talking points. They didn't really say I had to say anything specific aside from just give you guys the information on the products. So I really respect that. So today we're going to be playing with some of their new launches. Some of these things I actually have used before for a while. Some of them, this is going to be the very first time that I'm testing them out. And we are going to be creating this look that I'm wearing right now, which I think came together pretty nicely. I think the biggest thing that I'm excited to show you guys is the Photofocus stick foundation, because you guys know, if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, that stick foundation and I have a bit of a love-hate relationship, or rather, I want to love it and it generally hates me back. However, this guy has actually been pretty promising, so I'm really excited to show you how it applies and share my thoughts on it with you. So yeah, if you want to see what else I used on my face today and learn how I created this look, we're about to get into it. Alright, so we're gonna kick things off today with a little bit of primer, and I'm actually really excited to try this product because I've heard some really good things from YouTubers that I watch about this. So Wet n Wild sent me over their 3-in-1 primer water. So this comes in 3 different scents. They sent me the rose one, which I'm all cool with because I love rose scented things, but they also make this in a cucumber scent and a coconut scent if you don't like florals. So this is supposed to prep, set, and refresh your makeup so you can apply it before you put on any makeup, or you could use it to like refresh your makeup throughout the day, especially if you have dry skin, things are looking a little bit powdery or a little bit cakey. This will kind of just take that dryness away. So this is just going to give my skin a little bit of dew, going to give it some hydration, so the foundation we're about to use will glide on a little bit more seamlessly. You get 1.52 fluid ounces of product in here, which is not a lot, so you may need to repurchase this more often, but it's only $5.49, which is not a bad price. So now for the moment of truth, let's give the mist on this a go, because that can really make or break a facial spray. Alright, that actually is pretty nice. It's a little on the heavy side, like it's not the gentlest mist I've ever used, but it's not drenching my face completely, and it felt pretty even. Definitely getting a strong rose scent, so if you have a sensitive nose, if you don't like rose, definitely don't get this version, but if you like the experience of scent in your makeup, it is pretty pleasant. Alright, so now that I'm all nice and hydrated, let's move on to foundation. So I actually already own this product. I did purchase it with my own money several months ago, but I haven't used it on camera yet. And that is Wet n Wild's Photofocus Stick Foundation. I've also heard some relatively positive things about this, and I did like their liquid version of the Photofocus foundation. It smells a little bit like paint, not gonna lie, but it does give pretty nice coverage, and it's a matte foundation, which for someone like me with oily skin is usually preferable. But you guys know, if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, stick foundations and we don't always get along. I want to love them, but most of the time they don't work out well for me. They're either too moisturizing and they make me look greasy, or they don't blend out on the skin well enough because they're almost too dry. So I honestly had like 0 expectations going into buying this product. Like, I wanted it to work well for me, but I also felt like there was a pretty high likelihood that it wouldn't. However, having actually used this several times in the past, I do like it. I feel like it blends out nicely on the skin. I feel like it wears pretty decently. Maybe not as well as my regular matte liquid foundations do, but you guys will see on the application. So Wet n Wild actually sent me over a couple of other shades. They sent me over Classic Ivory and they sent me over Soft Beige. They actually sent 2 Soft Beiges. I think they meant to send me a 3rd shade. The one that I already had was Vanilla Beige, and I felt like that was a decent shade match for me. So I'm gonna apply this today, see if it still matches, because I haven't used this since the weather has cooled off and I'm a little less tan now. So if this one is too dark, I will probably try the classic ivory and see whether or not this one works better. Now, as far as the claims on this guy goes, it comes in 21 different shades, and it is supposed to be a lightweight, multi-dimensional formula. It's supposed to have a semi-matte finish. It's infused with argan and sunflower seed oils to give you moisturization and blendability on the skin. And let's see, it's supposed to give you that, again, flashback-free, flawless, like wearing a filter in real life kind of appearance to your skin. And it retails for only $5.99, which is very, very affordable as far as foundations go. Now, to apply my stick foundation today, I have a new sponge to test out. So Wet n Wild sent this pretty pink guy over to me. It's definitely a denser texture than like a beauty blender. However, it is still very, very soft. I think this is going to be pretty nice. And I like the shape of this. I like that it has a flat edge to it, but that it also has the rounded bottom. So I definitely am curious to see how this applies to stick foundation. I normally apply stick foundation with a brush. So we'll see how it works with this sponge. If I'm not enjoying that application, I may go in with a brush instead, but we'll see. All right, so let's see how this color match looks on me. I feel like that is pretty decent. Like, I feel like that matches my neck pretty well. So I will just go in on this half of my face first to see how this blends out with the sponge. A lot of the time I feel like the issue with blending out a stick foundation with a sponge is that it's just too stiff and it's harder to move the product around. But so far, I feel like that's working pretty decently well. Yeah, actually, that was not difficult to blend out at all. I need a little more product over here on my nose and on my forehead, etc. All right, so here is what the side with foundation is looking like versus here is the side with no foundation. And I really do feel like this blends out beautifully on the skin and has a very natural skin-like finish. I think semi-matte is the perfect way to describe this because it's not overly dewy, but it definitely is not completely flat either. Like, my skin has a nice satiny sheen to it that makes it look like healthy skin. And coverage-wise, I feel like it definitely has toned down the redness, it's evened things out, but it's not mask-like. Like, it definitely looks natural while also making my skin look perfected. Like, I think it looks actually really pretty nice. So just for curiosity's sake, let's try blending out the other side with a brush just to see if the coverage is any different. So I'm just going to use a little flat top buffing brush. All right, so here's the side with the brush versus here's the side with the sponge. I honestly don't feel like it looks really any different. The coverage is the same. Maybe it's a little more on the brush side, but honestly, I feel like the difference is so minute that you can't really tell. So honestly, I think this is the kind of product you could apply with a sponge or a brush, kind of whatever your preference is, which is really nice because if you are someone that has a strong preference for using a brush or using a sponge and you get a foundation that does not work well with your preferred method of application, like, that can be kind of a pain. I will say though, as far as like how transfer proof it is, it definitely is not really before you set it. Like, if I touch my face, I am getting some product on my fingers. So I do think I will have to set this to make it really lock in and last a while. Maybe if you have really dry skin and you want to keep the dewiness, the nice satin finish, you could not set this, but then it might be prone to moving, rubbing off, transferring, etc. So just be mindful of that. So I don't have a concealer from Wet n Wild to test, so I'm just going to throw that on really quick and then I'll be right back. All right, so under eye concealer is on. I used the sponge again to blend that in and it worked like a charm. This is really quite nice. It's very soft, and I looked it up and it's only $3.99 for this sponge, so I think that's pretty bomb. So normally I would have set down my makeup at this point. However, I do have another cream product I'm going to be using today, so I want to apply that before I put any powders on. So Wet n Wild sent me over 3 of these new Multisticks. So these are like chubby crayons you can use on your eyes, lips, or face. So I was going to use this matte brown one as like a bronzer today to see how that worked. So this one is in the shade 252D Nudie Culture. So we'll see what the texture is like. I haven't even swatched these yet, so let's give it a go. All right, so this is what this one looks like. That looks like it could be a decent contouring shade for sure. It's maybe a little bit on the cool side, so we'll see how that goes. And then they also sent me over Born to Flirt. This one looks metallic. I was thinking about using this as a lip maybe, or ooh, that actually could be kind of pretty on the eyes as an eyeshadow. I think I actually would like that better as an eyeshadow than as a lipstick, just because I'm not really big into metallic lips. And then they sent over the shade Lavender Bliss, which is a matte lavender purple, which is fun. I don't know that this is necessarily the vibes I'm going for today's look, so I don't know if I'm gonna use this one, but I feel like this would be a fun color for the springtime. So these guys are supposed to have a cream to powder texture to them, so they're not supposed to stay tacky on the skin. And each of these little sticks is only $3, which is pretty awesome. So here's to hoping, fingers crossed, this will blend out nicely on my face. So I'm going to just go in, draw a little contour. We'll start there, we'll see how this blends out. I will use the sponge and see how this goes. Okay, so I feel like that's blending really quickly. I can't tell with this lighting if that sponge just took all the product away or not. Let's just try it on the other side because the light is a little different over here. See how this blends. So I would say it definitely is blending out nicely, like it's not picking up the foundation underneath. I'm gonna just try with my fingers now, maybe see if that amps up the coverage a little bit. It's actually pretty nice. Like, it's not sticking. It doesn't seem to be pulling up the foundation underneath or patching up in any kind of weird way. Let's try around the perimeter. See how that goes. Yeah, the sponge definitely blends it in, but it pulls up a fair amount of the color. So if you want it to be more intense, you probably would want to use your fingers because the sponge is really going to shear it out quite a bit. I actually do like the color of this. I feel like on my skin tone it's a little bit light, but I think if you were fair and you were looking for a cream contouring product, like this is actually a really nice shade. It is very skinny, so on the face it's maybe not the ideal size for application. But what's nice is you could also use this on the eyes. Like I feel like this will be a really beautiful crease color. So we're definitely going to try this for the eyes when we get to that part. All right, cool. So far, so good. I'm now gonna go ahead and set my face. I'm also gonna throw on my brows because I don't have a brow product to try out from Wet n Wild either. So let me do all that quick and then I'll be right back. All right, so let's finish up the rest of the face. I have a blush and a highlight to test out today. And this blush, honestly, I don't know how I have managed to go this long on YouTube or as a beauty blogger without ever trying this product, and that is the Color Icon blush from Wet n Wild. Like, this is one of those old school YouTuber favorites. Like, I remember Mellow Wine, so many people talking about how amazing it was and how beautiful this formula is on the cheeks. It is $3 for this blush. Like, you cannot beat the price, and yet somehow I've still yet to try one of these. So they sent me over the shade Pearlescent Pink, which looks like it has a little bit of a shimmer to it. And it comes with a little applicator, but I'm not going to use that today. I feel like this would be a little bit of a struggle bus if I tried to apply my blush with that. So instead, I'm going to use this Pac-Man brush, which is also from Wet n Wild. This was a limited edition product, and I absolutely love this thing. It's, so freaking fun with this glittery handle. But this brush is also really beautiful for applying blush and bronzer. So we're just gonna tap a little bit on here. I have no idea how pigmented this is gonna be, and I don't want to go overboard, so we're gonna go with less is more to start. And I will... Ooh. Yeah, that definitely packs a little bit of a punch. So I think I was right to not go too overboard to start. But that is a pretty color. I mean, it's pink. Like, for sure, that is a pink blush. But I don't hate it. I feel like pink can be a very youthful color. And I'm not really seeing like any glittery chunks or anything like that. So even though there is shimmer in this pan, it's not translating on the skin as glittery. It's maybe giving me like a very slight sheen, but it's nice. It's very fresh, I feel like, and healthy looking. Now, this, however, I have tried and have raved about on my channel many, many times before. This is the Wet n Wild MegaGlo highlighting powder. So this specific shade they sent me, Blossom Glow, I have not tried before, but I love Precious Petals. I also have, I think, Bloom Time was one of their newer ones they released back in like spring, summer. That's like a really pretty blush topper. It's very pink. These are beautiful highlights. They kind of have one of those baked gelée type formulas, so they're a little bit more stiff in the pan, but they give you such a beautiful, like, glossy sheen to the cheeks. So I'm just gonna go in with a little, like, flat highlighting brush. Ooh, wowzer, that is intense. This is a really pretty color, too. It's almost like an iridescent duochromatic purpley pink color. Ooh, yeah. That is really pretty when it hits the light. This may not be the highlight for someone that wants a super natural looking highlight, but if you like to glow, I really love this formula. These retail for $5.49, which really is not a bad price at all, and you're getting a lot of product in here. All right, so far, so good. I'm really actually liking the way everything is looking. The foundation right now that it's had time to sink in a little bit, I feel like is still looking pretty nice. Even though I set it and powdered it, it's not looking overly matte or cakey. I feel like it's still looking pretty fresh, and the blush, the highlight, everything is adding to that. So far so good. Let's move on to eyes. So we're gonna play around with these Multisticks some more. I think I wanna do a pretty simple look today. So I'm probably going to put this shiny metallic shade all over the lid and use the brown color as a crease transition and see how that works. And then of course we can just use our highlight powder here for the inner corners, for the brow bone. Honestly, this is how I would normally do my makeup for a day when I wanted to keep things quick and easy. I do really like using shadow pencils, only using a couple shades and not like really fussing around. So we'll see how this blends out with a brush. I've got a little crease brush here. So I'm going to start out by applying this guy right directly into my crease. And then we'll take a little brush and just blend this puppy out. Again, this shade is really quite soft on my skin tone, so I feel like blending it is really pretty fast and easy on me. Maybe it would take a little more time if you were super, super fair, just because it's gonna show up with a little bit more pigment. And obviously, if you have a deeper complexion than me, this is probably not going to work for you, but it does look like, I mean, they have many other shades. There are 13 of them of these Multisticks, and it looks like they do have a darker matte brown. It's kind of hard to tell based on the pictures on the website. It's called Chocolate Cheat Day. I think it's matte. It's definitely a brown shade, but if it is matte, I feel like you could definitely use that for the same application methods if you had a deeper complexion. So now let's go in with this Born to Flirt shade, and I'm just going to apply this all over my lid. This is also pretty sheer, it looks like. And now we'll just grab another brush to blend this guy out as well. I would kind of like to see a little bit more pigmentation from this. Like, this is really, really sheer, and I don't know if this is just this shade, but knowing that both of the sticks that I've tried kind of was the same deal on me, like they're not ultra pigmented, they're more soft washes of color. Like, there's definitely a use for that. It really just depends on the look that you want to create and like what you're going for. Like, I think this looks pretty, don't get me wrong. It's just not like really bold and intense. Just for funsies, I'm going to also take this on the lower lash line. And I don't think I mentioned this, but this is pretty smooth on the skin. Like, it does not feel like I have to press hard to get payoff, which is nice. Okay, it's funny. So now it looks like it's more intense on my lower lash line than it is on my lid. Why are you doing this to me right now? I'm gonna just try building it up a little bit more. All right, so now I'm just gonna go in with my highlight on a little pencil brush. I'm gonna pop this into the inner corner of the eye. Now, normally if I was doing a look this soft, I honestly probably wouldn't use any eyeliner. I would just go in with mascara. But Wet n Wild sent me over this bad boy to try out today, so we're just gonna use this. This is a metallic liquid eyeliner, and this is like one of those old school style liquid eyeliners that has like a little pot that you dip the brush into. I haven't used one of these in a while, so we'll see how this goes. And it's in the shade Cosmic Black, so it's gonna have a little bit of a shimmer to it, which again could be interesting. I feel like a lot of products like this I've tried end up being a little more sheer than I want them to be. So we'll see how this applies. Now, this little baby right here retails for $3.49. It says it's supposed to be water resistant and have maximum payoff. Let's give it a little swatch and see what it looks like. All right, so it definitely is packing the shine, and the intensity is actually pretty decent. I feel like you can see it kind of shearing out as you start to have less product on your brush. But that's actually fairly promising. So looking at the product on the brush, it seems a little chunky, which does worry me a little bit, but the brush itself is super, super fine. So hopefully I'll be able to get like a nice sharp wing with this. All right, here goes nothing. So obviously using this kind of liner, if you're used to using like a felt tip pen, it's a lot more flimsy and gentle, so you kind of have to get used to, you know, the amount of pressure you need to use. But I will say it is gliding over my eye really easily, so I'm not really having any issues with precision, and the pigmentation on one swipe is actually pretty good. So I feel like I botched those wings a little bit. They weren't my best work, but as far as my thoughts on the liner itself, it is a little bit chunky, but it is workable. You definitely have to keep dipping the brush back into the pot, because once the product starts to run out on the brush, it starts to really shear out. So when I was like creating my wing, I kind of had to go back in over the side a few times to amp up the color, because I didn't have enough product on my brush with the like initial lay down. So that was a little bit challenging. But I will say overall, like, I mean, it definitely worked. I'm not sure if metallic eyeliner is something I personally would wear very often, but if you were looking for that finish, like, this is pretty cool. All right, so I think those are actually all of the products that Wet n Wild sent me to test out today. So I'm just gonna finish up my look with a little bit of mascara, throw on a lip, and then I will be right back to share some final thoughts. All right, guys, so here is my completed final look. I just threw on this Megalast lip color in the shade Baritol 902C. This guy is $2.69, and it is one of my favorite nude lipsticks. It is such a beautiful color, especially if you have warmer undertones to your skin. I think it's a really flattering peachy pink that's not too light but not too dark. All right, so let's do a little recap of all the products I tested out today. The first was the Photofocus 3-in-1 Primer Water in the Rose scent. I actually did really like this as far as facial mists go. I felt like the spray was nice and even. It smelled good because I like the scent of roses. And it definitely, you know, helped give my skin a little boost of hydration that I think made the foundation glide on a little bit more smoothly. I don't necessarily feel like primer is always like an uber necessary step. I do think that your skin needs to have some like suppleness to it before you go in with your foundation, or it is not going to go on its best. So I think these kind of like priming water sprays are really handy if, let's say, you do your skincare in the morning and maybe it's a couple hours before you sit down and do your makeup, so your skin is not like freshly moisturized and soft. This is gonna kind of like revitalize it, bring it back to life. But if you just did your skincare, you probably will be fine. So this to me is one of those like, If you like it, if you enjoy the experience of this type of product, or it makes sense in your routine, I do think it is nice as far as primer waters go, and it is definitely a lot less expensive than some like higher end products that are similar to this. Then we have the Photofocus Stick Foundation, which honestly may be one of the first stick foundations I've ever used that I actually like the way that it looks on my skin. It's not too heavy, it's not too greasy, like it's a nice all around in between. It's fast, it would be easy to travel with. Like that is honestly the appeal of stick foundations and why I've been wanting to find one that works for me for such a long time, just because it's so convenient. So I just turned my lights down and zoomed in a bit so you guys can see what the foundation is looking like on my skin up close and the texture of it. And I feel like it does look pretty nice. Like I definitely look like I'm wearing makeup, but I don't feel like it looks like a mask. It's not overly heavy. It doesn't look overly dewy or overly dry on my skin. Like for a $6 foundation stick, I'm definitely pretty pleased with this. Now again, I have used this product several times in the past because I already owned it before Wet n Wild reached out to me to do this video. And I don't think this is the longest wearing foundation I've ever worn, but as far as a stick foundation goes, I feel like I generally think it's worn more nicely than some other things that I've tried that really just felt like they sat on top of my skin. Like now that I've set this down with powders, I feel like it feels exactly the same as any of my other liquid foundations. So I do really like that. Just know if you also have super oily skin like me, this is not gonna be the most mattifying, shine controlling foundation ever. You probably are gonna have to touch it up. You are gonna have to powder it throughout the day. But in general, I feel like it wears pretty well. Then there was the Wet n Wild sponge. I am actually pleasantly surprised by this. I have tried many different affordable sponges. Some of them are hard as a rock. Some of them are pretty good. This one definitely falls on the side of pretty good. I find it to be quite soft. It's a nice size. I like the design of it because I do enjoy having these flat edges, especially for doing my under eye concealer. So I definitely 100% would actually buy this with my own money. I mean, for $4, I feel like this is a great little sponge. Then next we have the Multisticks here. I do think this is a cool little product. I like the fact that you can use these on the eyes, lips, and the face. I think I liked this nude color the best of all the ones that I tried, just because I feel like this has the most versatility. I liked the way that it applied as a cream contour. It's very subtle, but if you are looking for a more subtle contour and you have a fair to light complexion, I think this would work really nicely. I was a little bit disappointed in the payoff of this shimmery shade. I was kind of hoping for more. I feel like on my lower lash line, I definitely got more vibrant pigmentation, but blending it out on my eyes, even when I tried to layer it up on my lid, I feel like I just got a very sheer wash of color, which if that's what you're going for, you may really like this. But for me, this is the kind of thing that like I may reach for once in a while if I wanted to do an eye look in this shade, but it didn't like grab me. Then we've got the Color Icon blush. This is really nice. I had no problem blending this out on my cheeks. It's still looking nice and vibrant. It gave me a really pretty flush. I definitely understand why so many people are really into this product, because for the price, I mean, it is very, very affordable, but the actual formula seems like it could cost a lot more money. It's really nice. The packaging, obviously, on this is nothing spectacular. So, like, in that respect, it looks like a $3 blush, but how the actual product inside applies to your skin, I feel like you get a much more high-end vibe. The MegaGlo, I knew I already loved this formula, but I'm really glad I got to try this shade because I don't think I would have normally picked this out for myself. I usually steer clear of pinky highlights because a lot of times they have a very white base and they look really ashy on my skin. This is the kind of thing that, yes, it's pink, but it kind of just becomes one with my skin, so it doesn't look, I feel like, ashy on me. I think it looks really pretty, and I kind of like the duochrome pinky purple flip that it has going on. Finally, we have the metallic liquid eyeliner. I think this can create a pretty nice wing. I don't love the metallic finish for myself personally, just because it's not necessarily my taste, but I feel like I was able to get a pretty decent wing with this. The applicator is something that definitely takes a little bit of getting used to. Again, if you are used to using a more firm felt tip type pen, this is a lot more flimsy, but because it's a liquid product, like it just glides across your eye with ease, so I liked that. And just so you guys can see, these swatches have dried down and they're not really budging when I rub them. The glitter is moving around, so I definitely can see that, and like as I press harder, it is starting to smudge a little bit, so I have a feeling this is not going to be the most budge-proof eyeliner ever. You probably aren't going to want to be touching or rubbing your eyes when you're wearing this, otherwise you are probably going to get some sparkle fallout. But I feel like for a fun night out, for Halloween, for whatever, like if you were just kind of digging, rocking a glittery liner look, this would be a really nice, affordable product to try. All right, guys, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And again, a big thank you to Wet n Wild for sponsoring this video. If you are interested in picking up any of the products that I used, they are sold online on the Wet n Wild website as well as in Ulta stores. And also, Wet n Wild did give me a promo code to share with you guys to get 25% off your order. So I will put it here on the screen somewhere as well as in the description box for you guys. And as always, I love hearing your feedback on products as well, so definitely let me know if you've tried any of these things, what you think of them. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Leave a comment and tell me all about it. And I will, of course, be sure to update you guys on more of my finalized thoughts on these products, especially the ones that I'm trying out for the first time today, once I've had a chance to use them a little bit more. So usually I do my updates in my monthly beauty report series at the end of every month. So if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you click that button before you leave so you don't miss out on that. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.